Good afternoon. Seasoned Citizen presents. Our topic today is wintertime. I'm Hallie Schenkel, and my partner is Betty Jones. She's meal site manager for WIMS. There's one disappointing about our program today, though. There is no snow. But anyway, we will try to make you feel as if the snow is in the air or on the ground. I'd like to go and talk about food. I think that is a lovely subject. Don't you, Betty?
Oh, yes, I certainly do.
Let's go back when we were children. Of course, I'm a day or two older than you are, Betty.
Just a day.
But I remember some of the foods that we used to have. For instance, we always had those good old things that people say, no, I don't like. Turnips, parsnips, kohlrabies, and oh, of course, liver and onions, and
pork and cabbage.
Yeah, pork and cabbage, sauerkraut, good old sauerkraut, and all these fine things that the mother used to make. She just seemed like there was always a big dish and a big family around when there was good food. And one thing I remember was mush, cornmeal mush. They had a couple names for it. One of it was pornhoss, and I have heard it called scrapple. I think when they used to butcher, they used to have a big iron pot, and they used to throw pieces of pork and let it boil in that pot and throw cornmeal in it. But the way we made it at home, at least my mother, she used to boil a liver and a piece of pork, take it out of the stew, grind it in a grinder, put it back into the juice, and put the cornmeal. And then she would wet a bowl and put the cornmeal into the bowl, and in the morning slice it down and fry it in bacon. Oh, that was good. Another thing, Betty, do you realize that we never had many salads?
Not even Jell-O?
No, I don't remember much Jell-O when I was a little girl. Can you tell us some of the desserts they might have had?
Probably apple pie.
Right.
Probably apple dumplings, I know.
Oh, yes.
I know that. Pumpkin pies, because
Yes.
they use the pumpkins out of the fields. Mincemeat.
Right. But I can't remember any salads. And for dessert, you know what we had? Prunes and applesauce. After the meal, sometime after you'd eaten a big meal, then you wanted a little sweet, so you'd have prunes and applesauce. Any other kind of dishes that they used to make?
Wouldn't they have homemade noodles and chicken at that time?
Right. And I remember my grandmother's lemon pie. You could put your hand behind it like this here, and you could see your fingers.
See right through it?
Yeah.
Really?
I wish to goodness I would have been able to make pie like that. But of course, I was too busy playing outside.
Playing in the snow.
Right, playing in the snow. I have a little poem here. It's called Stew for Supper. It's cozy in the kitchen when the pot is simmering there, and the tantalizing fragrance of the beef stew fills the air. It's good to sit and rest a while with favorite memories of happy times and cherished friends and family recipes. Do you ever keep a recipe of your mother's or grandmother's or something?
Sweet and sour cabbage.
Oh, that was a good one. How was that made?
I don't know. Wished I'd have kept the recipe of it, but I'm sure if we'd look in all the old cookbooks, you could probably find it.
Was that made with red cabbage?
I think she had a little bit of both in it.
I see. How about you? Do you have a poem there that we can use in regards to eating?
More or less.
Good.
Okay. Have you ever churned butter in an old fruit jar? Have you, Hallie?
Nope. Nope. Don't know a thing about
that.
that.
Have you ever ridden in a touring car?
Yes, yes.
Or ever milked a cow as you balanced on a stool?
No, never milked a cow.
Or plowed a garden plot behind a stubborn mule?
No, but I've watched my grandfather.
Have you ever been flogged by an old setting hen?
No, but a goose run me down the road.
Or ever slept with rain beating on a roof of tin?
Yes.
Have you? Have you ever seen the likes of a Burma shave signs?
Yes.
Ever used home remedies like lard and turpentine?
Oh, you better believe it. Goose grease, too.
Have you ever cleaned a chimney or a chimney of a coal oil lamp?
Yes.
Or ever sent a letter for a 3-cent stamp?
Yes.
Ever heated curling iron in the chimney of a lamp?
Yes. I'm
To
telling
wave
my
and-
age, Betty.
To wave or crimp your hair?
Yes.
Or dip into the buttermilk for your complexion fair?
No, not that.
Did you ever wash clothes on a washboard until your knuckles burned with pain?
Yes.
Oh, I did that too.
Yes.
Then have to iron them with a flat iron that always left a stain?
Yes.
Now, if you can remember with flappers were the rage, it doesn't take much doing to figure out your age.
That's what I figured. I think that's a cute one, Betty.
That is good.
Well, let's kind of shift away from food now. Entertainment.
Sure, I'm hungry now.
Oh, of course. But I like the entertainment idea. Tell me some of the things that they used to do.
Entertain?
Yeah.
Well, they'd
Now,
probably...
here I'm going to tell you, to ask you what they did when you was a little girl, when I can tell you far more what I did when I was a little girl.
Then you tell me first.
Then you add to it, will you?
I'll try.
All righty. Well, in first place, we used to have a player piano. And we'd clear the chairs back against the wall and have the couples come to the house, linoleum on the floor, and I and my brother would be at the piano, and we would sit there and pump the player piano while they danced. In the kitchen was a pan filled with sandwiches and coffee, and about 11 o'clock or so we wished they'd go home because I was laying on the piano pumping while they could dance. So we really enjoyed that for entertainment. And then the other kind of entertainment we had was a phonograph, Victrola. We'd go to my grandparents' house, and on Sundays the parlor doors was open, and we could go in there and sit on the floor, and he would play the records and wipe them off and then put them back in the boxes where they belonged. And that was entertainment. Now, do you know of some entertainment perhaps Grandma or Mother had talked about?
Oh, well, we used to have a radio, and I would listen to the radio, and you remember The Shadow?
Oh, sure.
Oh, I just loved to listen to that. I'd like to listen to the squeaking door.
Uh-huh.
And then there was a cowboy show on, well, it wouldn't be on TV, it would be on a radio, and you could hear the horses clink.
Sure.
But outside that,
That wasn't much entertainment.
for me, well,
Well,
I'd go
I know,
outside and
but-
slide in the snow.
Yes, of course. There was ice skating, and there was roller skating. Very much so. It was very popular.
I got a pair of old clamp-on ice skates.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
And there were square dances and barn dances, where they would dance most of the night at a barn dance, you know. Throw a few more extra coins in the hat so that the fiddler would play a little longer. And then, of course, at home there was always books to read and
Coloring
stories
books.
to tell and little games like Old Maid, Jack
Chinese
Straws, Chinese checkers.
Have you ever played Chinese checkers?
No.
Oh,
never
I
did.
love to play Chinese checkers.
You got a board?
Uh-huh.
Bring it down sometime and we'll
We'll-
play with it.
No cheating.
Well, I don't know. I won't promise on that. Here's a poem called At the Hearthside. When nights turned cold and the north wind blow, we gathered round the hearth, for there were countless things to do, mixed well with joy and mirth. We'd make a spice pomana ball, a corn husk doll perhaps, or string old buttons on a string, cut paper filigree. The fire glowed, the kettle sang. We looked at picture books, made patchwork squares, played paper dolls, or read in cozy nooks. Sometimes we'd sing the good old songs, blend with an organ tone, popcorn above the glowing coals, and hear the old gramophone. And when the old clock chimed out 8, we'd climb the dark, steep stairs and snuggle into feather beds. Ooh, that sounds good. And then we'd say our prayers. How about another poem, Betty?
Okay. The world has stopped outside our door. The kids are home. 1, 2, 3, 4. When snow days trap their energy, Mom plots away to set it free. Let's pretend we're all snowbound, away from modern sights and sounds. We'll share a day so very full, with fresh snow cream and taffy pull,
That sounds good.
and popcorn crisp beside the fire. Whatever games you each desire. Then outside there's a fort to build, with angels bright the lawn is filled. You remember making angels out in the snow?
Sure.
A game of fox and geese is laid. Mom's energy begins to fade. It's back inside to warm our toes with hot cocoa and sweet marshmallows. The neighbor's crew drops by to see why this dull day we spend with glee. We're snowbound here, we cry aloud. Come on in and join the crowd. Our mom has stopped the world today on this enchanted holiday.
Wasn't that great?
We used to make fudge, too.
I can just picture that. I have one about winter fishing. Here comes a fisherman back from the shanties that huddled far out on the ice-covered lake, trudging in footprints that pattern the snow crust, breath-trailing plumes in frosty white wake. Boys follow fathers with light-footed leaping. They frolic and tumble in sports of their own, shouting and laughter they climb up the hillside. Fathers and sons say cold and wind-blown, bringing in winter with wind and snow flurries. The boots, caps, and mittens they drop in a heap. Home with the fishermen, both generations, leaving the fish swimming in the deep. In other words, they didn't bring any fish home.
They weren't biting that day.
That's right. Okay, it's your turn.
Okay, I've got Fireside Memories.
That sounds good.
My fireside could tell sweet tales of memories from long ago, when other hearts in other worlds would daydream in its golden glow. 'Twould tell of children rosy-cheeked who'd run in from their play to warm up tiny hands and feet before its crimson ray. 'Twould also tell of lovers fair with dreams and hopes as high and bright as any brilliant flame that softly dances by. The memories by fireside holes, through dimmed sometimes by tears, are souvenirs I cherish most through every passing year.
True, memories. How would we get along without them?
And they're coming back to fireplaces, and of course we used to have an old kerosene heater.
Oh,
You remember the old kerosene heaters?
the one you carried around the room? Yes,
with
I
the handle.
remember.
I used to curl up around them and just lay around it. You know, lay around it and stay warm.
I remember one time I had made some chili and I put it on my little heater, you know, and lo and behold, if I didn't come home from work and I had company, oh, I was going to be such a big girl, you know, and pour out your chili and everything, and in my hurry I swished past the stove and the chili went all on the floor. The only thing in the house to eat. So I cried. The company went out and got something to eat for us from the grocery store. So I remember that little stove. Here's another one that I like so well. It's called Touching Magic. Long ago, when I was a child and the world was magic, I watched my mother make a patchwork quilt. And in the cold winter of the northern lights, it kept me warm. In the darkness, I could run my finger over the patches, and I knew which old shirt or dress each one was made. The dusty rose velvet of my grandmother's skirt, and the checkered wool shirt my father bought the day my brother came home from the war. Mother's seersucker dress in aqua blue, her summer dress for church, or walking to the lake in the afternoon. The red and blue plaid of my twin sister's pleated skirt, ordered from Sears in August for school in September, and my own yellow cotton dress that I love and wore with white shoes and a little straw hat. And when I touch them in the darkness, I touch a magic world with apple-scented grandmothers, fathers with tears holding sailor boys, mother with arms folding you against the world, and sisters sharing secrets in the rain.
You know, I thought sure we was going to have snow today.
For our benefit?
Yeah. Since how we talked about
Well,
it.
anyway, I'm glad we got the snow here. Shall we shift the subject now to clothes?
Okay.
You remember some of the clothes that you wore when you was a little girl? Or is it very much different from what you'd wear today?
No, not too much different.
It was with me.
Well,
Long
I'm not gonna say
underwear, long black stockings.
well, I wear long underwear now on the motorcycle.
Oh, and long black stockings too, I suppose.
Well, they're
huh?
not black, but they're knee-highs.
You wouldn't know what a midi blouse was, or
No.
a pair of black bloomers that they used to use for sport. Well, anyway, the midi blouse would come long over your hip, and then it had square collar, and a big black bow tie here, see. Oh, we looked real cute in it, really. And the coats were heavy.
Long?
Yes. Oh, always long. And earmuffs. And don't forget the boots. Most of them were high boots, but they wear a lot of high boots now.
Well, would that be overshoes over your shoes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now they wear boots. When it's
For
weather like this, it isn't even wintertime. You know, it used to be only in the snow that we put on our boots.
Mm-hmm.
And like I spoke in that one little poem about them dropping their earmuffs and hats and everything on the floor, we used to dry them in the oven. Pull down the oven door and throw in the mittens or the
to get them warm so you could go back out and play in the snow.
That's right. And also feather beds, where it spoke about crawling into a feather bed. I slept in a feather bed at my grandmother's house.
I had a girlfriend that mother had a feather bed.
Did she?
Uh-huh. Verna Satterwhite was her name. And I stayed with her one night when I must have been about 8 years old, or 8 or 9. And her mother had a feather bed. Oh, that was wonderful. Did you sink down in the center of it? Yes. And pull the other feather bed up over your head. Oh, that was
sure.
neat. Yeah.
Here's a little poem about woolies. Perhaps the snow is so appealing, 'cause winter clothes are not revealing. Fuzzy coats you get to wear, and warm wool hats to hide your hair. Like this. Mm-hmm. Not so fit and not so thin. Layers of wool will hide who's in. The big down coat and fur muffs, your smiling face will be enough. It's just a very cold day. All right, another poem.
I got a snowflake. Silent snowflakes, so that's what we got outside, right?
That sounds good.
In silent snowflakes falls all through the night. The ground is covered with diamonds in the soft moonlight. Tree limbs are all trimmed with shimmering lace. The countryside tonight is a transformed place. Each tiny twig has a trim all its own. Such magnificent beauty over the country is known. Fence posts of marble statues stand stiff and white, resembling silent centuries on this cold wintry night. Nestled up snugly in a spreading grove of trees, a picturesque farmhouse is protected from the breeze. A happy, contented family in their cozy beds sleep, knowing in their hearts them the Lord will safely keep.
Very good, very good.
Now, not so very long ago, we had a heavy frost that this poem would relate to, right?
Well, living out in the country, more or less like you are, Betty, you would know more about this heavy frost and heavy ice and all that more
it's real pretty.
Than we do into the town.
Yeah, it's real pretty when there's a heavy frost. You got something else?
Well, I was wondering if we couldn't shift over now to remedies and medicines that was used years ago.
Like goose grease and turpentine?
Goose grease. Always keep the grease from the goose so you could put it on your chest, you know. And another thing for colds, you boiled onions. Put them on the stove and put sugar in them, you know, and Mother would make us eat that, you know, for our colds.
Ooh.
I know. And if you had an earache, and Dad would blow smoke into your ear.
I heard that.
And clove oil would be used for a toothache. Can you think of anything else?
I was trying to think. My mother used to put Vicks pads on my chest.
Yes.
She would rub my chest down with Vicks, then she'd heat a flannel shirt or a sheet and put that on top of it, and she'd do that to my back. And the next day it would be gone just like that.
A good remedy.
Right. Outside that, I can't think of anything.
Oh, they had so many remedies, really.
I know, but see, you...
If you snagged yourself or something in the woods while you was out walking, why, they would grate a potato and put it on there. If you had infection, they'd take a piece of bacon and fasten it around your foot or your arm or something.
Oh, really?
Just an ordinary piece of bacon. If you had a black eye, a piece of steak was put onto your eye.
Does that really work?
That's right. I know that.
Are you not pulling my leg?
No, I'm not pulling your leg. That is the truth.
I'll be darned.
Because we had a friend that his wife got beat up with a black eye, and she came to our house, and my father put a stake on her. I didn't see that stake go to waste.
Yes.
But anyway, it cleared up it took the coloring.
Is that right?
A pain, I don't know about that, but it did take the coloring from the eye.
Huh.
And they was always putting castor oil down you.
Well, you know, I have to tell you this, because my mother used to give me castor oil all the time, and you know where it went?
Down the sink, I suppose.
No, I'd sit on the windowsill, see, and and look out the window, and she'd give me this castor oil, and I'd look at it, and I'd go, ooh. She said, now you drink that. So I'd sit there for a while, you know, pondering,
Sure.
and I'd let it go real quickly down the windowsill. I never did drink it. Ooh, it just turned my stomach.
Look at the birds, maybe outside.
Well, I was looking outside. I don't know what happened, but it wasn't taking that. Ugh.
But anyway, they couldn't run to a doctor all the time, and there was a lot of things that was done, a lot of arms and legs perhaps that was bandaged up with old remedies and it has helped too. Sassafras tea in the springtime.
Yeah, I've
that
heard
was
of
the
that.
bark, and they would boil it and make tea for you. It said that it would clear your blood or thin your blood anyway. And you wasn't durst to take too much, because if you did, it would thin it too much.
Oh, really?
Today we have a different thing. It's not old-fashioned remedies, but it's called hypothermia. Do you know anything about it? Do you know what it means?
No.
You should.
I know I should.
You saw the newspaper. You read it as much as I did.
Yeah, but you read in details. I didn't.
Well, anyway, it means lowering body temperature. And I suppose, do you know who they used to think just got hypothermia?
Older people?
It does that way today, but I mean in the past years.
I don't know.
Why don't you know, Betty?
Know. I'm just dumb.
Mountain climbers.
Oh, I should have known that.
Or someone that was in a boat and they fell into icy water or something like that. They might get hypothermia. Now, how would you know if a person had it? Betty, you didn't read your lesson.
I didn't, did I? So I get an F.
Anyway, they would have puffy cheeks. They would be cold. Their hands would be stiff, you know, and they were cold. And they would be dizzy-like. They couldn't think as straight as they should, you know, ordinarily. Which, you know yourself, when you're cold, you just don't seem to, like they say, manipulate right. But anyway, those are some of the things, you know, in regards to hypothermia.
I suppose if I ran into somebody that had hypothermia, it would probably come right to me.
Yeah, now, since you know, since we're more acquainted with it.
Yeah.
And anyway, I was amused at this article that they said the St. Bernard dog always had the little keg around his neck, you know, to take whiskey or brandy to a person that was in a mountain climber or something.
And that's the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, they said that wasn't such a good thing after all.
Nope.
And then there are several things that had to be known, you know, in regards to treating people. First of all, you must wear warm clothes. I don't mean tight clothes. That's not good. You know why?
Why?
Cuts off circulation.
Yeah, I should know that
But you wear loose clothes, but you should be warm. And exercise. Exercise is another thing that is very important. And don't drink alcohol.
No,
Definitely not.
That's the wrong thing to do.
Go out and be laying in the street, you can really get hypothermia. And drink plenty liquids.
Plenty of water.
And wear a hat or cap, because most of your heat will be in the head and it will keep the body warm, which I was glad to know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I never wear a hat.
And food would be vegetables, meat, milk. eggs. Keep yourself warm. Like I say, loose clothes, not tight clothes.
Layers.
Yeah. Do you have another poem?
Yes, I do.
Well, good.
I have Snowflakes.
Okay.
This was written by Casey Anthony.
Oh, good. I'm glad to have one of his poems.
Right. I have often wondered why it is that snow is always white. Why not red or blue and green or pink would be all right. They say each little snowflake is different from the other. How true this is, I do not know. I never did discover. To say each flake is different really boggles up my mind. Just tell me how you know that, if you will be so kind. A snowflake is a pretty thing, so clean and white and pure. But to see each one is different, how can you be so sure? When we were kids, how we did love to play and frolic in the snow, to catch a snowflake on your tongue. That was fun, as we all know. But now that I am older, I want to count them one by one and find two snowflakes just alike, just to show it can be done.
That's a nice one. We must thank
Casey.
Aunt Casey for that lovely poem, because we're glad that he contributed to the program.
Right.
I have a little one here, and then we'll finish it up. Mother Nature shakes her sifter, round and round o'er the town. Gentle snow is sifted out to completely cover all the ground. The clothes hang stiff upon the line, the game of statue in the air. Dad's underwear a snowman makes, just like a shaggy polar bear. Bushes are large feather dusters, tweedy colors, all brown and white. Lazy smoke curls from the chimney. Oh, what a beautiful winter night. Betty, this has been one grand program. I really enjoyed being with you.
Something that we didn't.
Of course, I'm cold, I'll grant you, with wintertime, but as a whole, I think it was a grand program, and I thank you very much being a guest here, and I hope that we can do this more often. And thank you for watching us. We tried to make this a little frivolous, but we hope that you have enjoyed it. In fact, watch all of our programs. I would like to thank the crew for their good work, for the station, and for all the many blessings that we have each day that we live.